Awesome. Welcome everybody to our Million Dreams chat. I want to thank Adrian and Heather, I don't know if they're on or not, for doing that last week. And I feel bad it didn't get recorded because it was awesome. So hopefully you appreciated that. And I've been reading through everybody's reporting. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over a few expectations and some things as we're coming to the end of the month. We're going to teach a couple of different concepts that will be helpful as we're ending this month and moving into the next month, as well as we're going to talk a little bit about grit, and then opening it up for Q&A and also going over some of your wins and challenges from last week. But before we begin, we have two people share their wins for this with us, please. Maybe somebody who hasn't shared before, who might not be super confident in sharing or don't really like to get on here, whatever. Let's have you, who hasn't shared before. Unmute yourself and just come on in. Scroll through you. Beverly, have you ever, unmuted? Oh, are you there? No. There you go. Are you there, Beverly? She might have stepped away.
Can you hear me?
I can.
This is Melissa.
Oh, it's Melissa. Okay.
Beverly can go first, though. I just didn't know if it was working with my computer, so I'll mute myself.
Beverly, then Melissa. And introduction to Beverly is Beverly's husband was my, I think it was 5th or 6th grade teacher. Is that crazy? Mr. Chapel. So things kind of come around, and Beverly's, are you cousins? You and Marjorie? How are you related? Let me unmute you.
We're cousins.
Cousins. So came back around. I mean, super small town. I met Marjorie in California, and Beverly lives in a really small town in Utah, in Coville-ish. And so interesting how things come around. So what were your wins for last week?
Well, I just went over a few of the scripts and the class outline just a little bit. That's okay. About, and I talked to a few people, but I didn't do any overviews or anything like that.
That's okay. That's a win. In order to share more, being confident and going over those scripts is really important. So awesome. Melissa.
All right. I'm sorry that you can't see me, but I don't have a webcam.
That's
so
okay.
Some of my wins for last week were just I reached out to some people that I had just met, and we had some one-on-ones. So that was a big win for me. I found out that I'm really good at one-on-ones. They haven't enrolled yet, but they will.
Good for you. Awesome. So that's great. And I like what you said, I discovered that I do well at one-on-ones. And so that kind of leads me into what I want to talk about a little bit about is this idea of talent. That oftentimes we see high performers and we think that they're just really talented or they're gifted or there's just something special about them. And that may or may not be true. But what talent really is just how quickly you learn a skill. And so you might be talented in something, but if you don't apply effort to that talent, it won't ever become a skill. So you might have a kid that has some natural athletic ability, but if he doesn't apply effort, it's not going to become a skill. So for instance, a really good basketball player, in order for them to really gain that skill, they have to put in the effort. But what happens is if you do have some talent in a certain area and you do apply effort, that you learn things, you develop that skill quickly. And so some of us in the different skills that are needed in doTERRA, like prospecting, inviting, teaching, following up with people, organizing, creating a vision, like some of these different skills, you may have more talent in, and as you apply effort, you're going to go quickly in that and developing a skill. And there will be other things where you don't have as much talent in, and so as you apply effort, it might seem like you're not getting anywhere. But what happens is that if you're just kind of averaging your talent in a skill, but you're applying a lot of effort, you will generally out achieve someone who has the talent and isn't putting much effort into that. So just realize, like some of you might get frustrated at certain things because you see other people developing the skill, or they have this skill and you're trying and you're not growing as quickly as them. Just realize you might not have like the natural talent, but as you apply effort. And what I really think is cool about this is the effort helps in two different ways. So if you see effort here and you see effort here, that as you put forth effort, you're going to develop skills. But also as you put forth effort, it's going to create achievement. And know, especially as you're beginning and you're trying to develop new skills, that it can get frustrating because you might not be seeing the achievement that you want yet. And so that's really where this idea of grit comes in. And taking that grit test, and like as I was looking at the different numbers and seeing how really anything over 3 is pretty darn good. And so seeing that we have a lot of gritty people who are a part of this group is awesome to see. And so thinking about the expectations of the group is one that you need to report every week, and the other was that you teach 10 people a month. There's some of you who have accomplished that, teaching 10. And awesome, like continue out the month with whatever your goals are and continuing to work. For those who are close, you have how many days left to move forward and to do that. And some of you might be far away and you're thinking, dang, like what am I gonna do? And looking at your grit scores, knowing that you have it within you to create success in that if you desire to do it. So one thing that I want to talk about with this is that it's called SelfEfficacy. I'm going to type that in for you because it's a different one. SelfEfficacy. And this is really our perceived ability to accomplish something or do something. And generally, our perceived ability is far less than our actual ability. And I want to watch this video clip to kind of demonstrate this. And some of you have probably seen it, but I want you to think in these terms of self-efficacy. Let me share my screen, a different one. Okay, hopefully you can see that. I'll move the space away. And I don't know how long you'll have to turn up your computer, but this is from the movie, if you haven't seen it, Blindside, I think that's what it's called. So football movie, very motivational, but in it there's this team, and they're going to be playing a team that they perceive is better than them. And so they're kind of getting ready for this, and the coach is asking the team some questions about it. And so let's just go ahead and play it out so you can see what happens. And this really is applicable to any time that you you have a goal and you might perceive, not believe that it's possible, or you don't believe that your abilities are enough to accomplish something. And then we're going to talk about it afterwards.
Oh, man, it's not even funny, dude.
So, Coach, how strong is Westview this year?
A lot stronger than we are.
You already written Friday night down as a loss, Brock?
Well, not if I know we could beat them.
Come here, Brock. You too, Jeremy.
What, am I in trouble now?
Not yet. I want to see you do the death crawl again, except I want to see your absolute best.
What, you want me to go to the 30?
I think you can go the 50.
50. I can go to the 50 if nobody's on my back.
I think you can do it with Jeremy on your back. But even if you can, I want you to promise me you're going to do your best.
All right.
Your best.
Okay.
You going to give me your best?
I'm going to give you my best.
All right, one more thing. I want you to do it blindfolded.
Why?
Because I want you giving up at a certain point when you could go further. Get down. Jeremy, get on his back. Now get a good tight hold, Jeremy. All right, let's go, Brock. Keep your knees off the ground, just your hands and feet. There you go. A little bit left, a little bit left. There you go. Show me good effort. That way, Brock. You keep coming. Very best. Your very best. Your very best. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. That's it. That's it. Keep going. Don't quit on me. Keep going. Keep driving it. Keep your knees off the ground. That's it. Your very best. Don't quit on me. Your very best. Keep driving. Keep driving. There you go. There you go. That's it. You keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. Keep driving it. Don't quit till you got nothing left. Don't give up on me, Brock. You keep going. You hear me? You keep going. You're doing good. You keep going. Do not quit on me. You keep going. It hurts. I know it hurts. You keep going. You keep going. It's all hard from here. 30 more steps. You keep going, Brock. Come on. Keep going. 20 more steps. 20 more. Keep going, Brock. Give me your best. Don't quit. No. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't quit anymore. Keep going. Don't quit. Give me your heart. You can. You can. 5 more. 5 more. Come on, Brock. Come on. Don't quit. Don't quit. Come on, Brock. 2 more. 1 more.
Let's go to the 50. I don't have any more.
Look up, Brock. You're in the end zone.
Okay, so I hope you're going to unmute your mics because I want you to answer, like, what did you learn from that experience?
I love that scene.
What do you love about it?
Wow, the suspense for one thing, right? Because you can't see me because my camera's going the other way. I don't know how to turn that around right now, but just that he's capable of so much more than he thinks, and because he's being cheered on, and I don't know. I just love watching the guys in the background that are seeing what's going on and realizing that it's all so much more possible than what they're thinking.
Yeah. And so basically his self-efficacy, his perceived ability, like how he perceived what he was capable of, was far less than really what he was capable of.
Right.
And the interesting thing is that when we end up doing something that we didn't think that we could do, that translates into other parts of our lives. For them, what ended up happening is not just the kid that carried, the kid to the end zone. Not only was his belief changed, but the other kids who were watching, their belief changed and what was possible for them as a team in beating this team that they thought they couldn't beat. And so they end up going and winning that game. But it's the same thing with us, is the coach knew that the kids are able to do much more than they think that they can do. And from that experience, he increased their self-efficacy. And it's the same thing with us in all aspects of our life, we often put this limit on what our capabilities are. Yet there might be somebody else who perceives more of the truth and perceives more of our abilities. And so that could be upline, it could be a spouse, it could be a friend, like sees that we're much more capable of what we believe we're capable of. And so there's some different ways of increasing our self-efficacy, and one of those is by doing something that you don't think that you can do. And so the idea of, I mean, especially for those who might feel like it's not possible for me to teach 10 people this month, maybe you taught 0, or you have a lower number, or you have, you know, a few more to do, but you're just feeling like I can't do that. Oftentimes it can be helpful if you pose the question differently to yourself, so that your brain can come up with some really creative ideas. For instance, if you had to teach 10 classes or 10 people this week, in order for a child or a loved one not to die, right? What happens is we become very creative. Like if you had to accomplish that in a week, you would come up with a lot of different ideas of how to do it. Names would be coming to you, right? And some of the fear would go away because you had such a strong purpose in teaching. And so how this applies with grit, and grit really is I had the definition there, but it's our ability to sustain effort over time for like a long-term goal. And so doTERRA definitely is something that you need a lot of grit in order to be successful at, because it's not something you're going to see success in a short period of time, unless you've like done a lot of pre-work in your life before and you have a huge network and all these skills. Like when you come in, you know, boom, you're going to see all this great success. Most of us come in and it's going to take effort over time to develop the skills and then to start seeing the achievement. And so it takes a lot of grit in order to do that. And in order to increase our grit, there's some things that we can do to do that. One is, and I think you're doing it now, is just taking an interest in something. So you're taking an interest in building a doTERRA business. And so you're kind of dabbling in those things that are needed to be successful. That's a start. The second thing is that you need to do deliberate practice. So for me, I don't know, you know, for those who are on and saw my typing skills, I've been typing for since I was, I don't know what age. In high school, took a typing class and then dropped out because the guy that I really liked wanted me to take a class with him. So I dropped typing, and I've been typing forever, but my skills are the same from that period of time. They haven't gotten better. I make a lot of mistakes. It's slow. It's torturous. So for how many years have I been doing practice? Really bad practice. And so it's the same idea with our skills that we need in doTERRA. Like, if we're not doing deliberate practice where we're just striving to get better at a certain skill, and where we're asking a coach or a mentor or somebody, like, practice with me, listen to me, see how I could, like, how does this sound? How could I get better? Then you could keep doing it wrong and not see any results from that. And so that's another way that we increase our grit. It's like the person that's trying to learn to play the piano. It takes a lot of time and effort, and you're going to get a lot of coaching to be able to perfect that skill. It's going to be the same with this. And that develops grit as we put in that deliberate practice, that it develops our grittiness. The second one is having a purpose, like a really big purpose. We say why in doTERRA, like, why are you doing this? If your purpose in teaching 10 people this week was so that a loved one doesn't pass away, like, you have a really big purpose. And I'm pretty confident that most of you would just go get it done, which says to me that you have the ability, that you have the capability of doing that this week. Do you have a big enough purpose in doing it? And part of that purpose could just be, I just want to prove to myself that I can do something that I didn't think I could do, because that will translate into other aspects of your life if you do that. And if you need help with that, part of that practice is reaching out to someone that could help you. Like, can you brainstorm some ideas with me? Like, how can I do this? How can I be able to stay into this group and accomplish this goal? Because I'm 100% confident if I told you that one of your loved ones is going to pass away unless you taught 10 people, you would do it. So to me, that says you have the capability, right? And then the third or the fourth thing with developing grit is hope. And this is a different hope of like, I hope that tomorrow's better than today, or I hope that I teach more people this week. Like, that's not the hope I'm talking about. This type of hope is, maybe you could call it faith, I don't know, is that you're confident that the effort that you put forth will create results that make tomorrow better, and that you are willing to put forth those efforts because you're confident that as you put forth the effort, it's going to create the results that you're looking for. And that's a little bit different than, I hope that, as I do this, I can do it. But those are the four things that increase our grittiness and that will help you, no matter what your talent level is, to increase your achievement. So that's interest, which I think most of us have right now. Practice, the deliberate practice that we are, that we have a purpose. And like I said, even if your purpose is to increase your grittiness, or to prove to yourself I can do hard things, or prove to somebody else that I can do hard things, whatever it is, it could be that. And that you have that hope, or that understanding that if you put forth this effort, that it's going to create positive results for you tomorrow. So that's really all I have to say on that. Any like thoughts or insights that you have to share with our group? Because I think all of you have like life experiences and things that might help others in the group. So any thoughts or things you want to share before we jump into anything else? All right, and while you're thinking, I'm going to pull up, where is it? Oh, this is good. Sorry, I just want to share one more cute little thing with you, because I really love this kid. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but this is what I want to happen by the end of the month for everyone. So love this little boy. If you haven't seen this, this is super cute. Can you see this? Not yet? Yes, yet? Okay.
I feel.
Do you feel alive?
I feel happy of myself.
I feel happy of yourself too. What do you got? Any words of wisdom? What about for all the other kids trying to learn how to ride their bike? Can you say anything to them?
Everybody, I know you can believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you will know how to ride a bike. If you don't, you just keep practicing. You won't get the hang of it, I know it. If you keep practicing, you will get the hang of it, and then you can get better and better at it as you do it.
Give me some thumbs up.
Thumbs up, everybody!
All right.
For rock and roll!
Sorry, I just thought that was really cute. But the interesting thing is, he increases self-efficacy. You could see it, you could feel it, like he felt super empowered and that he could probably do anything, right? He's telling us that we could do anything. And that's what happens when we do something that we like is a little bit harder and we do practice and see that success that we're looking for. Anyway, okay. With that, any thoughts, comments, or questions? We're going to go to
Stacy,
yes.
it's me again. Sorry, I have a lot to say today.
Oh, you're great.
So today I taught my very first class like ever in my life.
Yay!
I've had like an open house before. I had a booth at a little Christmas thing, but today I was like on my own doing a class, and I had invited like 70 something people through Facebook and a bunch of people, that I actually talked to over the phone or at least messaged, and a lot of people showed a lot of interest. I didn't have anybody that didn't want to come. I just had people who couldn't come. And then the people who came, I was just so, it's one of these things I stressed about, like all night. I was like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know if anybody's going to show up. I bought all this food and I still need to clean my house. And, it was this like, and so I had the house to myself this morning. All the kids went to school. My husband went to work, and I just started playing A Million Dreams and cleaning my living room as fast as I possibly could. Go out and shut the door. Go out and shut the door. No, I locked the door and you came in. Anyway.
Locked the door.
Yes, I'm facing
Like a little mom.
Okay, well, this one's gonna stay.
They just join
you.
you.
Want to see my friends? You want to see my friends? Look. Okay, so she was asleep, and so I was getting a lot done. Look. Say hi. Say hi. Hi. Stop crying.
Hi.
Okay. So anyway, but it was just such a positive experience, and I just used that natural solutions class guide, and we just had a really nice conversation. Everybody was so like, they just believed everything I said, and they smiled at me and they nodded, and we shared stories, and it was like, wow, this is really fun. And then just the rest of the day, I expected to feel exhausted because I just the lead into those kinds of things. But I still taught lessons today for 5 hours, and I had more fun teaching piano today than I've had in a long time, because I was kind of on this high, and it was like, wow, life is good. This is fun. I'm enjoying interacting with people. And it just kind of woke up my brain and this part of me that's been sort of, I don't know, maybe dormant through the struggles of motherhood and all of that. And it was just, anyway, I just feel kind of on fire. I still need to teach a few more people this week, but I feel like I got plenty of time. There's a lot of days left, and I know a lot of people. And I know a lot of people that wanted to come today that couldn't, so I can easily reach out to them.
That's
so
awesome.
I just, they say when you're having a good day, you should talk to your downline, and when you're having a bad day, you should talk to your upline. So I'm probably talking to the wrong people, but either way, it's a good day.
No, we need to hear it too.
So thank you for all of your encouragement, because I'm having a great time.
That's awesome. And so now you are the little biking boys, like, you can do it.
Right. You can do it. If I can do it, I know you can do it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Bethany. That's cool. Anyone else? Not. Or if you have any questions, if you have like, hey, what are some ideas to teach people this week, or whatever it is that you're needing, this is a great group to be able to ask. And feel free to interrupt.
Stacy?
Yes, Adrian?
I don't know what you can see of me, but
I can see you.
yeah, just, I don't have a lot to say, just that at leadership today, just lots of people with stories about, when there's a will, there's a way, and some pretty incredible stories actually about people reaching their goals in tight time frames and that kind of thing. So it just reinforced to me, when we want to make something happen, we really do get creative and find a way. So, and there was a question about, what am I ready to make happen or receive? I don't remember what it was, but anyway, those are my scattered thoughts.
No, and that's true. And I think a lot, like, so for instance, Bethany's experience is like going through kind of the struggle and the stress and the prep and stuff, and having that great experience that enables her to want to do more. And for her, like, I think you had 0 people that you taught for the month, and then you taught 5, and now you're saying, no problem, I can teach 5 more in the amount of time that we have left in the week. Totally, right? So your self-efficacy like went up, like your belief in what you could do or will do like went up. And so it's important to be able to have those experiences and recognize those experiences. And we might have had experiences in life I was just reading about this girl who, like, she did really well in high school. I think she pretty much got all straight A's. And then she went to college and she took this, I don't know if it was a biology class, but she took the first quiz and she just did horrible, basically got an F on it. And she talked with the teaching assistant and he basically said, it's okay, like, for you to withdraw from the class. There's time to withdraw from the class. You can take this within the next 3 years of college education. And she decided to stick it out and just study more. And it came to midterms and she took the test and she did horrible, like was so stressed. She didn't even finish the end. And so she was just super stressed about that and went to the TA again. And he said, well, I think you should drop out. You should withdraw from this class. It's better to have a withdrawal than having an F on your thing. And she said at that moment, she left that appointment and she's like, it's a miracle I didn't cry. But I thought, I could drop out and I could think, I am not good at this and I'm just going to focus my efforts somewhere else and think about that for the rest of my life. Or I can decide, no, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to figure out how I can learn this stuff, because she felt she was capable of learning it. And so she decided that she was just going to do whatever it took. And so she did more studying. She did practice exams to be able to simulate what it would be like to take the final and go through it with that stress. She said basically she had done so much. By the time she took the final, she's like, I could have written the final. And she did really well on the final. She got her lowest grade that she ever got was a B. But she said that was one of my biggest successes because of the amount of effort and struggle that I went through that. And the mindset that I had was that I can figure this out. And she incorporated help from others in order to do that. And so just knowing that we have that capacity and that ability to do it. And I think that that's a lot with some of the challenges that I'm reading through here. And especially if you feel like you're constantly having the same struggle, maybe it's with time or with kids or with not finding builders or whatever it is that your challenge is, what's your solution? Like, what are you going to do in order to overcome that instead of having it to be like this repeating struggle all the time? Like, are you ready to take it head on? Are you ready to reach out and find out solutions? And that's what I've seen, like the people who have been most successful are the ones who are, number one, humble. And when I say humble, I mean teachable. Like they're the people who are willing to ask the questions, to look dumb, to seek out those people who might be excelling in something that you're struggling with, to find out, like, how did you get to the point that you are now? Like, what are some of your techniques? What do you recommend for me? The second one is that you're hungry, that you have that big enough purpose or why, desire, hope to put forth the effort to do that. And the third H is honest. That you're honest with yourself, you're honest with your, like the people around you and your capabilities. And so you may not have like the skills, being honest with yourself and what can I do to learn those things, being honest with yourself that maybe you do have the skills and you haven't been putting forth the effort, that, honest with yourself, you're spending too much time doing things that aren't necessarily important, too much Facebook or too much this or whatever, just those three H's are really important in success. And so kind of reading through some of these challenges that we're facing, that a lot of it can be overcome just by you taking ownership of that and like, how am I going to overcome this struggle? So I'm going to see if there's anyone that we want to read before we go. I'm just going to like close my eyes and the first one that I see. Okay, Sarah. I don't really know your story, Sarah, but I've seen like some different struggles that you've been going through, struggling with motivation. Is this the right one? I don't know. Were you also struggling with some health concerns? Are you on?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I just have had 2 back surgeries, which both failed, so they had to do another additional back surgery for each one. And then I have some type of neurological something going on to where I have tremors. They just kind of come on all of a sudden. So that happens a few times a week, and just trying to be able to get through that and then still being able to stay in the group and teach my 10. And it's been a struggle, and there's been a time or two I've not wanted to give up, but felt like I couldn't go on. But I'm never going to have an opportunity like this to have the teachings and the support from other members and from my 1-up, and I don't want to not continue. Sorry. I don't want to not continue to be able to go forth using the oils and teaching other people, because just my family alone has had success. I've had it with my son, who has a lot of learning disabilities. He's always constantly having to do something. He's from one point to another. And so we were using Balance and Intune. And the first 3 days we used that, his teacher's seen a difference. And then we ran out, and then she's seen the difference when we were out of it, when we weren't using it. So it's definitely helped with that. And I'm learning just daily things that I could do for myself. And also, one thing when I thought that I couldn't go on, and because of my health reasons, is I'm finding things that are helping for me. And you'll always see somebody post on Facebook, oh, had a horrible headache today, or had a stressful day today. And it's now, I feel like that's my job or my opportunity to reach out to them and say, hey, have you tried this? These are working great for my family and myself.
So I think it's awesome that I just keep reading some of these. I'm like, I know you're struggling with something. I didn't know it was back surgery, but that's pretty amazing that you are continuing to build and do those things. They're helping you to move forward and progress. So thank you for your example. So I think we'll end it there. The homework or assignments that I would say for this week is, if you've taught 10, awesome. If you have other goals that you're trying to accomplish for this month, whether it's a certain rank, if it's Power of 3 bonus, whatever that might be, like, go strong. For those who haven't taught 10, I would put 100% focus on teaching those 10 people. And if you need to get creative, if you have to propose to yourself, okay, what would I do if my child would not be living if I didn't teach these 10? Like, what would I do to make that happen? And then just let the ideas start flowing in, and then also reach out to your upline to be able to brainstorm some of those things and put it into action, because we want everyone staying in the group. And then the final thing would be taking at least 30 minutes to an hour to plan for next month. And I'll be posting the rank planners that you can fill out so that you can kind of see where you're at and what it would take to reach the next rank. And so that's a really great plan. So if, for instance, you're trying to reach the rank of elite 3,000 in volume, you need to know about where you're going to be at if you do nothing. As far as with LRPs, what would be the volume? And then what would you need? And how would that be if you were to enroll, like, with 200 PV kits? How many enrollments would that be? Or maybe you're looking at people that need follow-up so that they can get on the LRP program. But you're starting to create a strategy to be able to create that volume. It might be, okay, I'm going to host a couple of classes, so I need to get on the phone and find some hosts for classes so that I can teach those classes or whatnot. But it's creating your plan at the end of this month so that you can just head into next month and do your thing. And if you have any questions, comments, whatever, please post them on the Facebook group if you need support with that. And I love you all so much, and I want to see you successful and jumping up and down like that little biker boy. So everybody have a good night. Anybody on the East Coast, thanks for staying up late.